Hi guys, for math today, pretty simple and pretty short. We're just talking about equations, and the assignment super easy. It won't take any time at all, so it's a nice break after the test yesterday. If you did not do well on the test, you can always retake it. You just have to email one of us and we'll get it to you, send it to you, and you just have to send it back. All right, for equations, I'm going to kind of take you through with a balance, and we'll do it kind of live, and we'll see how that works. So again, the assignment today is going to be at the bottom of the comments. Make sure you fill it in, finish it, check back for comments in case you need to do some corrections. Anytime you're doing equations really mean there's an equal sign. And when there's an equal sign, the equal sign means everything on this side of the equal sign has to equal or be the same as this side. So x plus 3 equals 5. So we don't know what x is, but we actually do know what x is because it gives us the clues. So the equal sign means it have to be equal on each side. And we would know that x in this case equals 2. In this case, this one, x plus 7 equals 10. Everything on this side has to equal or be the same as this side. That's what the equal sign means. So x plus 7 has to be the same as 10. So we know that x is going to be 3. Super easy, and that's algebra. So algebra is not that hard. This one, x minus 3 equals 4. So everything on this side of the equal sign has to be the same as this side. So x minus 3 equals 4. We can just figure that in our heads pretty quickly. We know that that's 7. So x is 7 because 7 minus 3 is the same as 4. They're equal sign between those. You might ask, well, why do you have this balance thing here in the middle? This balance is a great way to think about equations. If you have some chips, if you put like 4 chips on this side, I'm not in balance. This would be the equal sign in the middle. How do I make it balanced? I have to put 4 chips on this side. And then they become balanced, just like the equations. Now, when you don't know what something is, when you don't know where something is, like this x, they would also fit on this balance to help you figure it out. I'll show you that in a second. You just did this the other day with Miss Moore, and she was explaining to you how you put together, you put the x's together and you put the y's together, and there's not just the number in front of it. It's how many you have. So I have an x here, and I have another x, and I have another x. And those would represent 3 x's. So this right here would represent 3x. So that is 3x. Those 3 x's. 2 x's, 1 x. And for 1 x, we don't write 1 x. You can just write x. Same idea. Now this is where the balance can come in to help us out. This is kind of cool how this works. So I have x plus 4 equals 6. Now I can show that on my balance here. So I have x, but I don't know what's in x. And obviously just by looking at this, you're going to know what's on x, but I can show you how this works. So x, and then I have 4 more. 4. 2, 3, 4. So that's x plus 4. Now that equals 6. I'm out of balance. I'm not right. But now I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And now I'm in balance. So on this I have an equation. It's balanced. They're equal. But now, if this is 6, and this has to be the same as this one, and there's 4 already over here, we're going to know that there has to be 2 in there. And a really good way to say that is like, oh, well, I can fix this balance. I can get the x by itself. Because if I get the x by itself, I'm going to know what's inside of there. So that's the variable. So I'm going to take these 4 off. But now I'm out of balance. To get it back in balance, if I take these 4 off, I get back to balance. And that's going to balance out at the end. And what does that tell me? That tells me that x in here is the same as 2. And this would prove that x equals 2, which is what we already know. Hopefully that makes sense. Another way to do that is if I took this away, if I took 4 away from this side, took 4 away from this side to get the x by itself, and then I took 4 away from this side. So this is like there's no more x's over here, there's no more 4's over here, there's no more chips over here. But I took 4 of those away, there's actually 2 more left. So see how it's 2 and then the x is kind of by itself. And that's not today's assignment, that's a couple days from now. But that's basically how this works. Everything has to be in balance. I have this one already set up. This one says x plus 3 equals 7. So here's my x, and then there's 3 on top here, and then there's 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. And they're balanced. Now I want to get this x by itself. I want to get this by itself, get rid of these other ones. So because of the balance, because of that equal sign, what I do to one side of the balance, if I do the same thing to the other side, it stays equal. So what I'm going to do is I want to get this x by itself, so I'm going to take 3 away. Now on paper, that would look like take away 3. Oh, I'm not in balance. I'm not in balance at all. I do have the x by itself. I'm just going to rewrite it here. But x is not 7. I mean, we know what it is, but x is not 7. I'm out of balance. So since I took 3 away from this side, was in balance, I took 3 away from this side, I have to do the exact same thing to the other side. I take those 3 away, and now that's how I would show it on paper. 7 minus 3 gives me 4. So x equals 4, and we know 4 plus 3 equals 7. And that's how you prove it, and that's how this works using the balance, which would be the equal sign in the middle. I set this one up for you ahead of time too. This is 3 of these x's, and 3 of the x's is just written like this, 3x. So 3 x's, 3x. Now I'm on the balance, so it's going to have to equal this, because both sides have to be equal. It's in their balance, so it's 6. I have 6 pieces there. So 3x equals 6. In your head, you can do that. It's pretty easy. You understand what it is. But 3x equals 6. How can I get that so that the x is by itself? Well, if I have 3 of them, I can't just subtract 2 x's because I'm not going to be out of balance. I don't know how many are in the x's. But what I can do is I can split these up into 3 different groups, or divide it out by 3. So I'm going to divide this by 3. I'm going to find out, okay, there's 3 x's. So if I split them up into 3 equal groups, one group would be an x. So I'm going to split it up into 3 equal groups. 3 groups, one of those groups is x. Now I'm out of balance. So the 6 over here, I'm going to have to separate those into 3 equal groups. So I split those up into 3 equal groups. 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, but I only want one of those groups. So I'm going to take these away. And because of the weight of the cup throws it off a little bit, I find out that I am in balance, and x is going to equal 2. If you did this on paper, what you're doing is you're taking the 3 x's and you're dividing those by 3 just to give you 1 x left over, splitting up into 3 equal groups. You have to do the same thing to the other side. I'm taking that 6 and dividing it into 3 equal groups. Just like a fraction, 6 over 3 is the same as 6 divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. We found out that x is 2, and we can look in there, and they're 2. Similar problem. I have 2x equals 6. That means I have 2 x's here, and then I have 6 over here, so the equal sign is in the middle. So 2x equals 6. That doesn't do me much good. I know in my head what it's going to be, and you do too, and that's part of the assignment for today. But to prove it, I would have to say, okay, I need to get this x by itself. And our fancy term is going to be isolate the variable, which means get x by itself. So I have 2 of these x's. How can I get x by itself? Well, I'm going to split them into 2 equal groups. So I split them into 2 equal groups, and one of those groups is just x. And I would show that by dividing it into 2 equal groups. So 2 divided by 2 is just 1, so that just gives me 1 x left. And I could just write that as x. Now I'm out of balance. So if I want to balance the other one, I'm going to have to take this 6, these 6, and split them into 2 equal groups. there's my two equal groups, and I'm going to take one of those groups, and the problem I have is just the weight of the cup throws it off a little bit. But once that balances out, once I can figure out, eliminate the weight of the cup, I'm going to find out that there's going to be 3 in the cup. So I'll be balanced to 3 in the cup. So that would be just like dividing this by 2 and then making it 3. And yes, the weight of the cup does factor in. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Today's assignment are just ones like 3x equals 12. When there's no space between them, it means multiplication. So 3 times what equals 12? You just write down x is going to be 4. X plus 7 equals 10. X equals 3. You can just do it right off the top of your head. It's just mental math stuff. Pretty easy. Finish the assignment by 8 o'clock tonight. Make sure it's submitted and check back a lot just in case there's ones that you have to redo. Not a split screen assignment today, not a split screen practice. Pretty easy stuff. All right, get to it.